Hello, Julie here and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to share how I created a concertina. I'm calling it a concertina card. I'm going to use Denise Boddey papers to create this. I've seen a few of them around the place and thought I'd like to give it a try. So here we go. So I'm going to use this Le Jardin Romantique Nature's Romance paper as the base of my card. Now to start, I'm going to cut two pieces of paper that are 5.5 inches by 12 inches. Okay, so now this is a case of do as I say, not as I do. To get your patterns to be on the outside of your box, you need to have opposing diagonals. So start first of all by having the two front sides up. On the right hand side of one, mark down 3 inches. Then take the other one and mark down 3 inches on the other end. So you want to do this one on the left hand end, not the right hand end like I did. Once you've got your mark in place, trim or cut, scissors, whatever you like to use, diagonally from the top corner where you haven't put the mark down to the mark. And that will give you like a sloped top. So do that for both pieces of pattern paper. Now on the back of your paper, take your ruler and measure down halfway on each end. So on the 5.5 inch end, you're going to measure down 2 3/4 inches, and on the 2.5 inch end, of course, you're going to measure at 1 1/4. Then you're going to draw a line the length of your paper so those two lines meet. You're going to do that for both pieces of paper. Now we're going to take our papers to our scoreboard and score at 4 inches and 8 inches on both pieces. Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit of tricky scoring. We've got our line drawn along our paper. Now with the big section of the paper on the left, you're going to score at 2 inches up from the bottom to that centre line. Then we're going to score at 6 inches from the top down to that centre line. And then we're going to score at 10 inches from the bottom up to the centre line. Now we're going to do the other piece, which has got the long edge on the right hand side. We're going to score from the top at 2 inches, up from the bottom to the centre line. So all of these stop at the centre line. So the first one is down from the top at 2 inches, up from the bottom at 6 inches, and then down from the top at 10 inches. Now what we're going to do is use our scissors to basically cut that score line out. So we're only cutting about a 1/16 of an inch, so just a sliver up along each one of those score lines we've just done at the 2, 6 and 10 inch marks, and stopping at that centre line. So we're going to do that for all of the score lines we've just created. So 3 on each one of our 2 pieces. this is what we're going to end up with. These slits that we've just cut are opposite each other, so they're in the same line, but one's top, one's bottom. Now we're going to do our folding on our original score lines, the ones we did at 4 inches and 8 inches. So they're just a Z fold. So the first on the first paper we're going to do a mountain fold and then a valley fold, and on the second one we're going to do a valley fold and then a mountain fold. Try and line your bottoms up so you've got your papers nice and square. Now I'm just going to take an eraser and erase that pencil line anywhere that it's showing. So now it's time to slip the two pieces in together. So fold them as they are supposed to be folded, and then you'll see that each of those little slits we cut line up, and one's in the bottom, one's in the top, and they slip inside of each other. That is what holds the card together, and you don't need any glue or tape or anything to hold this card in place. So there we have it. We've got now our Concertina card. Now to embellish this card, I'm going to use a few dies, flower dies. So the first one is from Denise Boddey's shop. It's called Primrose. It comes with a stamp, but I didn't use the stamp. I'm also using Memory Box Cottage Leaf die, also Uniquely Creative's Little Leaves, and another die from Denise Boddey called Poinsettia. I didn't use this die, but I used the others. For the sentiment, I am going to use this Woodware stamp called Word Fragments. Now I've already assembled lots of the flowers. I've just left one of each type to show you how I'm doing it. So for the more solid type flower, I'm just cutting down on the petals a little towards the centre. I have already inked around the edges of both of these sets of flowers, but once I have cut down a bit, I need to just ink down into that cut. Inking is not compulsory, of course, and you may choose not to ink your flowers or whatever you're doing, but I do prefer the look of inked embellishments and papers actually. Now I'm going to take my Pokey Tool and I'm going to wrap the edge of each petal downwards around that tool, so I'm getting a rolled edge to my flowers. Then I'm going to use some liquid glue just in the centre of each layer and attach one layer on top of the other, and I'm going to stagger the petals so that I get a fuller looking flower. Once I've got the 3 layers laying on top of each other, I take them over to that black mat, which is actually a stubby holder cut open, and I use the blunt end of my Pokey Tool to push down on that flower, and that gives it lift, so it makes the petals sort of spring up. I do have a video showing how I make an assortment of different flowers, so I might link that in the description box below if you're interested in having a look at that. Now the more sparse looking flower, which has got a bit more gap between each petal, I'm not shaping these at all. I'm just layering them on top of each other so that the petals are staggered, and then I'll do the same trick with those. I will move them onto that soft mat and push down in the centre using the blunt end of my Pokey Tool. Time now to attach my flowers and leaves to my card base. So this is just a matter of playing around until we get something that we like the look of. I'm using liquid glue, that gives me a little bit more play time, and I'm just slowly building up from the back to the front. So I've got my bigger flowers at the back and my smaller flowers to the front, and I'm just poking leaves in here and there where I think they should, where I think they look the best. I'm going to put this on a fast speed, and just let you watch it happen. I don't think you want to watch the whole full however many minutes it took me to put this together, so I'll just put it on fast forward, and I'll come back to you when it's completed. So that's what we've got at the moment. I've tried to keep my flowers and leaves fairly well within the constraints of the card. I know that they've gone above, and I'm going to make an envelope to put this in, so I can adjust it a little bit, but I didn't want it poking out too far. Now, as I said, for the sentiment I'm using this Woodware word fragments stamp, and I have stamped and heat embossed in black, and I'm going to just attach that to the front of the card. So here's a bit more of a look at all of the angles of the card. You can see it from the top, from the side, gives you a bit of an idea of exactly how it comes together and what it should look like once you've got it together. Be careful when you're sticking your flowers on that you're not sticking your concertina sections together. It's about the only tip I would give you there. I decided to add a little bit of sparkle to the centre of my flowers, and I'm using stickles to do that. This particular stickles is called Diamond, and it's just a glitter glue. You could use any of your Nuvo drops or any of those sorts of things, would do exactly the same job. So I'm just going to put a little dab of that into the centre of each of my flowers, and then I'll have to set that aside to dry. I'll probably leave that overnight because it takes a while for that to actually dry permanently. Now I'm going to add a piece of white cardstock to the back of my card so that there's an area for a message to be written. I've cut a piece 5.5 by 4 inches, and I'm going to attach that to the back. This actually gives us somewhere to write our sentiment, but also it actually helps to stabilise the card, so it's not a bad idea anyway. So that's our card for today. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. I liked making this card. I did make that error of not keeping my paper, my pattern paper, to the outside, but I think overall with all the flowers and everything on it you can't really tell. So it did work out okay in the end. But if you're going to use a plain cardstock for your card base, well then you don't have to worry about that at all. So yeah. I will put a link to the products I've used in the description box if that's any help to you. And I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope you can join me when I post my next video. Okay, bye.